Hey, what's up? This is Shashu, and I'm going to show you how you can use your DJ-808 controller with a DAW. In this case, I'll be using FL Studio. Let's get into it.
Shashu.
All right, so there's different ways of setting this up all together. In my case, I'm using FL Studio. It can be done with any other DAW also that accepts core audio drivers. In this case, I'm using my MacBook. It's a 2012, but it should be okay with minimum requirements running the current version of Serato DJ. I'm going to show how you can set up the audio interfaces together because we're going to need a special configuration to make sure that the DJ-808 is able to communicate with our DAW. In my case, my choice of DAW is FL Studio. And actually, what I like to do is also to include Serato DJ inside of that equation so that I can use all three, DJ-808, Serato DJ, and the DAW. In this case is FL Studio 20. So let's jump into the Mac screen. We're just gonna go straight into the Spotlight search. So I'm gonna press Command and spacebar together like this. I'm going to type audio, and then what should pop up is your audio MIDI setup. You can press enter on that. Now this window is gonna open. Definitely won't have that same listing, but it doesn't matter. What you need to do is to pay attention to the actions that I'll be doing right now. As you can see, these are aggregate audio interfaces. The blue ones are the ones that I created, meaning that we're taking multiple audio interfaces and linking them together so that they can work together. So in this case, I'm linking the DJ-808 audio interface with my MacBook's audio interface. So basically, you're gonna want to click on plus here, and then you'll have a list here. What we're gonna choose is create aggregate device. And once you click on that, it's gonna add one here with the default name. And you're going to have the list of all the audio interfaces, all the audio devices available on your Mac. Next, what we're gonna do is click on the audio interfaces that we want to use. So in this case would be the DJ-808. Once I click on it, these appear, but we'll get to that in 2 seconds. And I'm gonna click on the built-in output. And here's why. We don't wanna have any feedback looping going on. I just wanna be able to have all the information that's going into the DJ-808. So my synths are the tracks that are playing from Serato. And I want that to go into FL Studio or the DAW. And then I want a separate stereo output that I can listen to all of it together. Using two audio devices together, we're able to create a separate channel for the output and be able to receive a whole bunch of different things coming from the DJ-808. And then what's gonna happen here, this is the list of available channels with this aggregate device setup here. Right now, we're gonna label these channels so that they appear correctly in our DAW. So back to our window, I'll just show you the way that I set up my own, and then you could just copy off this and I'll add the list and below. So here we have input channels. Here the numbers are represented and the label that I wrote is actually what the channels are on the DJ-808. So the first one and the second channel, 1 and 2, represent the left and right for your channel 1 on your mixer. And then we go back, channel 3 and 4 are for your channel 2, left and right, and so on. 5 and 6 is for channel 3, left and right. 7 and 8 for channel 4, left and right. And then 9 and 10 is actually for post Serato, meaning channel 9 and 10 on the DJ-808 or Serato's master out. So whatever is going through Serato, your side A, side B, or any tracks that you've loaded that's playing is gonna come out of the channel 9 and 10. 11 and 12 are TRS output, this section. And then we have channel 13 and 14, which are the VT section for your vocals. Even though it's usually plug in a microphone, you're still getting the stereo output because of the reverb and delay effect. You get the whole stereo spectrum. Then we have built-in output, which is just going to be our output. Now the drift correction, just leave it as is. Now once this is created, we're gonna open Serato. Now I'm opening Serato. I loaded a track.
Where we make them disappear. Let's get it. This is no illusion. I'm finna snap.
Okay.
Gonna turn them on to some ghosts. Voila.
Now what I'm gonna do is go to FL Studio or the DAW. Here's an example of digital feedback. So back in the list of the aggregate device, notice how I've labeled also the built-in outputs. So I know which output it's assigned to. In this case, I called it MBP for MacBook Pro left and MacBook Pro right. So now in my session, I'm going to make sure that the outputs are going to that one. So it's going out of my built-in speakers. And you select that. Now the feedback would stop. Hey, hey, hey. And it's going through the session. So this is a template that I've made in FL Studio. So every time I open FL, it's going to load the channels that I want. All right, so let's open a fresh session in FL Studio so that y'all can do a template the way that you want to set it up. So first we're going to just, like in real life, we want to make sure that the channels are muted and nothing is going to pop up or anything like that. Then we're going to go to the audio settings and we're going to select the new aggregate audio that we've created. I have this one that I made, so this is the one I'm going to use. So in my case, I'm going to select this. Now, what's going to happen is that the list of channels that we've labeled are going to be available in the mixer section of FL Studio. Notice how we labeled them. This is how they show up. It's useful. It's great. Now, if I want to be able to record what's coming from Serato DJ, then I'm going to select the input. For those who don't know FL, the inputs are on the top, outputs are on the bottom when you're on the mixer. So channel 1, for example, can be Serato DJ here, like that. Right now, my voice is going through the session because my mic is on and because Serato DJ is on. So now if I just wanted the vocal coming straight from the DJ-808 before Serato DJ, then I would choose the VT. So this is my voice coming straight from the DJ-808. Same thing for the TRS. These are the channels coming straight from the TRS. These are the TRS drums. Okay, now the tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4 are really the sound that's going into the DJ-808. If I have a record player connected into the channel, these are the channels I'll be selecting. If I want to record reverb that I added from Serato DJ onto the record or the track that's playing, then I'll choose Serato DJ. So you could build your template. You do something like this. You can do something like this and rename them to the channels that you need, that you want to call them. What's really important is to make sure that the master output is the MacBook's output, just to hear what's going on and what's going through. If it's going out output 1 and 2, these are actually the outputs on the DJ-808. And if I click on it, then we're going to get digital feedback. You want to make sure that the MacBook's output is selected. Once you're done with your template, you just save it and then make sure that it's in the template folder inside of the FL Studio folder. Once you're done saving, you close the file. Then we're going to reopen FL Studio. So once you open FL Studio, then you're going to have your template show up in the list here. Always make sure that I turn on my DJ-808 in the right order. What I do is plug in the USB, then I turn on the controller, then I open Serato DJ, and then I open the DAW. All right, so that's it. That was my explanation on how to set up FL Studio with Roland's DJ-808. Follow me on Instagram and on Twitch. The links are right below. Also, I have a part 2 to this video. The second part will be focused on the creative aspect. I'll just show you an example of a track that I've completely created using this type of setup.